Greetings. My name is Michael Miller, and this is a Michael Miller Pilates Facebook Live broadcast, except it's not Facebook, it's YouTube. It's a live broadcast on YouTube that's headed for Facebook and beyond. It's meant for my Cornu Core, students of the Ideal Within Joe's Original Work, and those who know something about Cornu Tension in the body and how it helps you move through space. I'm grateful and thankful that you're watching. Thank you. And that's meant to not only my Cornu Core students, but my licensed affiliates who want more of a direct connection to the brand. That's my intent to help you increase your value as a Pilates instructor by associating with the biomechanics of Cornu Tension that nobody really is paying much attention to yet. All right, so number one is why uniform engagement? Because I saw a person on television who was waving their arms, and this was all right here, very loose, right? Very loose. And it made me realize, or it made me think again, that the reason you want uniform engagement is not only for that the uniform development that you're after draws the body into a more uniform organism. You get stronger and more condensed and less flabby, right? So the uniform usage that is required to get uniform development, that uniform usage, part of what you get out of the uniform usage is the refinement of musculature, which is a good thing because it's more empowering and gives you more control over your body and your movement through space, whether you're running from the tiger or dancing on stage. Number two, now I don't have much for today, but thankfully I do feel something to share. The rollover, question mark, would that be with or without endpoints at the metatarsals? And I say this because I saw on television recently a beautiful demonstration of the rollover. And it's very classical insofar as it had a great engagement at the ankles and dorsiflexion on the way down, and soft pointed feet on the way over. So I would like to see that also experimented with or done with the same kind of tension in the metatarsals when the feet are pointed as exist in the ankles when they're not. So see, pressing out through the heels on the way down in the rollover when your hips are coming to the floor, very traditional. That's the way you're supposed to do it. But this pointed foot thing is more original work than I live with, because I go to endpoints at the metatarsals and I engage the metatarsals, which allows me to lighten up with engagement at the knee and allow more uniform engagement throughout the whole leg. It's my experience of it, and I invite you to try both ways as well. And as always, I'm not saying one way is better than the other. But I am saying that you can discern the difference and choose to do the one that gives you the most control, gives you the lightest load moving through space. Okay? And of course, my bias, my point of view is that by engaging at the metatarsals, you allow for a more uniform engagement. And that not only when you're rolling down from your legs being over your head and pushing through your heels, but going into metatarsals, pointed feet, the same endpoint at the ears applies. And so you get more uniform usage from more of an engagement of tension at the endpoint, at the metatarsals, the ball of the foot. So if I were instructing and someone were so good at what they were doing, I would introduce them to a different feeling, not better, not worse, and one that to me was more allowed for more uniform engagement, and then to see how that worked in the body that was doing it, and if it connected at all. And if it didn't, it's history already. And then number three, doing Pilates, you become more present. And by that I mean more present, more in the moment, more attentive to what's going on. And that's, to me, because doing Pilates requires that you listen, right? That you observe, that you are aware of your senses, all of them, and that observation, that sensory awareness, wherever it comes from, base of the brain, as a field, whatever explanation, the concentration Joe talks about needing, necessary to the experience, is this, to me, that's what makes you more present from the doing of Pilates. Because when you do Pilates, you have to pay attention, you have to concentrate on what you're doing while you're doing it. And Joe talks about the purpose of the exercise. To me, the purpose of the exercise is to honor the physics in which we exist by seeking ideal movement in a line and in a plane and in perpendicular planes, and then progressing the rotation through the space that those perpendicular planes define. It's a geometry, physics thing. Only honoring the space that we're in, and then trying to improve our capacity to move in that space as efficiently as possible. Oh, a quick report on the YouTube Live has brought me more into YouTube for this, where most of my YouTube is recordings of me teaching the mat somewhere. Well, a history of recordings that I edited and then put out on YouTube, whereas this is live to YouTube. And in the process, I find other instructors on YouTube, and it's heartening to know that the medium is being used to share more and more, to share information about Pilates so that someone can come to an appreciation of it on their own, to their own extent and in their own way, right? this is my attempt at sharing with you my view of Pilates. I identify as a brand, Michael Miller Pilates. This is the trademark. The ideal expression, as best I can manage, is uniform eccentric loading flowing through progressive patterns of movement. And any choice that is influenced by that perspective has some kind of a harmonic resonance to it, if there's any at all, to that definition of the ideal. But all of this recording is futile because we are caught in the moment. And that was my number 3, that doing Pilates, you become more present. And that's a good thing because you're more likely to survive if there are tigers in the jungle, and stay healthy if you're in good shape. So for you, my cornu core, remember that I should add that to the ending. It's not going to be fun. Why show up? And so we are all unique to the universe, and I'm so glad that we made this connection, because life can't live forever. You have to see behind the curtain. You have to read between the lines. You have to add 2 and 2 and direct your own thinking. Including your Geist, your spirit, your mind's eye, your observer, your situational awareness, the concentrator. That state of being present, right, is required in the method. And for me, I'm aiming for ideals of line, of smooth curve, of even distribution, of maintaining integrity between the axes of the body to optimize uniform engagement through the movement. Right? That's what we all want, right? Learning those connections, ribs. The ribs connect through the transverse into the grip of the hips. You see, I can't believe that the whole world doesn't consider the core of the hips an actual grip muscularly at the hips to control rotation around the axis. And to me, that's like a given. That's a presumed point of view that has to do with the physics of it all and the sensation of it all and the embrace of the sensation to the physics to attain the result. So Cornu Tension. It's Friday, and I hope your weekend nourishes you.